Okay, so we're looking at an example on adding and subtracting polynomials, and we're going to start with adding, and then we're going to see how subtracting is pretty much the same thing. We just have one minor little adjustment when we subtract. Okay, so taking a look at this first example, I'm asking you to simplify, which means let's put together anything we can combine, make this big expression look simpler. Okay, so the instructions up here say to add together two polynomials, combine like terms. So remember from last time we said like terms would be things that had the same variable, like x, and the same exponent, like squared. So if I scan along in the other polynomial that I'm combining this one with, I'm going to look for another x squared, and if you see right at the beginning, there's one right here. So remember, this is 1x squared. So when I combine these, I'm going to say 2x squared plus 1x squared is 3x squared. Remember, we do not change exponents when we're adding, only when we're multiplying. So in the second term, we're going to say 12x. Okay, well, I'm looking over here, I see a minus 30x. So I'm going to say 12 minus 30. Well, that leaves me with negative 18x. And then I can do the same thing with this constant term. I have a plus 5, so positive 5 plus negative 8. Well, that would be a negative 3. Okay, so I combined all the like terms. If I'm looking at this one at the end, there are no like terms left. So I would say that the sum of these two polynomials is 3x squared minus 18x minus 3. Okay? And it's that simple. We're just combining like terms. So when I come down to the second one, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start off with 3x cubed, and I'm going to go over the other polynomial, and it looks like I see a negative 4x cubed, and those are going to combine. So I'm going to say 3 plus negative 4. Well, that's negative 1x cubed. Okay? And now this is where it gets a little different. I'm going to go to the 5x squared, or the negative 5x squared, and I'm going to look in the other polynomial, and I don't see any other x squareds. It doesn't have a like term to combine with. So in this case, whenever that happens, we're just going to bring down the term and attach it on just like we see it. 5x squared, or negative 5x squared in this case, did not have a like term, so it just gets attached on. The next one after this, if I'm going cubed and then squared, I would have to say, well, the next one will be x to the first, and I don't have any of that in the first polynomial, but I do have one right here in the second polynomial. So again, it doesn't have a like term to change it. It's just going to come down and attach right onto the end. Okay? And then the last of it would be these two constant terms. I have 10 plus negative 30. Well, that would be negative 20. So I'm going to say that the sum of these two polynomials is negative x cubed, which remember we don't need to say that 1, negative x cubed minus 5x squared plus 10x minus 20, and that is the sum. Okay? So when we move on to subtracting, you're going to see that pretty much it's the same thing. I say to subtract two polynomials, and I still have this phrase down here to combine like terms. But in the middle in big bold letters, I have another important part, something that's slightly different for subtracting. Okay? What we're going to do with subtracting is we're going to take this minus sign, and we're going to give it to each of the terms only in the second polynomial. So each of these terms is going to change sign, because that's all our negative really does, is it switches the sign. So watch what ends up happening here. I'm going to say that the first polynomial stays the same. So I'm just going to bring that down completely without changing anything. And the second one, I'm going to go through and change all the signs. Okay, so the first one is 6x cubed, positive 6 here. So when I give the negative sign in, it's going to become negative 6x cubed. Okay. I have positive 5x squared, give the negative sign in, negative 5x squared. Okay. Negative times negative 4 is going to change the sign of that to a positive 4. Okay. So now when I go through and I combine like terms, I'm going to do it with these change signed versions of that first polynomial. So 2x cubed minus 6x cubed is negative 4x cubed. 4x squared minus 5x squared is negative 1x squared. And I'm going to show you this one without writing the 1. You don't have to write that. Okay? Negative 3x. I don't see any other x to the first terms. There's none of those in the second polynomial. So I'm just going to bring that along, minus 3x. And then the only one that we didn't use yet is this 4. And again, it doesn't have another constant term from the first polynomial. So I'm just going to bring that down, plus 4. And I say that this 4-term expression is the difference of these two polynomials. Okay? So one more, just to kind of hit home this point. Minus sign is going to come in, hit both of these polynomials, and then we're going to bring everything down. 3x squared minus 2x minus 3x now. It was positive 3x. Now it's negative 3x plus 10 instead of minus 10. And now I can combine. And if you notice in this problem, the only thing that actually combines is minus 2x minus 3x. Well, that would be negative 2 minus 3. And I'd say this turns into 3x squared minus 5x plus 10. And that would be the difference. Okay? So again, here are your two checkpoint problems. One subtraction and one addition. You can try those out.